Man, I hit play. We're back. Guys, what's up? Welcome back to Jake James and Friends. We're back again. I got another friend here today.
What's up, y'all?
We're
How
friends,
we
right,
doing?
Chris?
Yeah, we're friends.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude.
We got Phoenix, what do we say? Comedian, producer,
Comedian's good. Yeah, producer.
funny guy.
Funny
Phoenix comedian
guy.
Chris Banks with us. Thanks, man. Appreciate you coming,
Yeah,
dude.
dude. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you, man. So my favorite part about this podcast is like, I don't like see myself, like, I'm very careful to use this word. Like, I don't feel like I'm a comedian. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like, I don't know what I am, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like I am good at this podcast, right?
Yeah.
I know I can do this. So what I like about this is that I have a lot of people like you that I know in this city that are doing awesome things.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think like my contribution is just having this to bring you guys in here to tell your stories and
Yeah.
give you content for free,
Well, I'm
basically.
sure we
you know what I
appreciate it,
mean?
dude. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's the second time we've had you back in the last year or so. And excited to have you. You're one of my favorite people in the comedy scene. I think
Thanks,
you know that
bro.
by now, man.
Yeah.
I support everything you do.
You're an absolute awesome supporter, dude. And like, I think you're crucial to the comedy scene too. I was thinking about this before I came in.
Yeah.
I need to give you your flowers, dude, because like,
Thank you.
yeah, dude, your support's been fucking amazing, and yeah, I think it's awesome what you do. Like,
Cool, man. I
and
appreciate it.
it's professional and it's dope.
Yeah.
We need
It's
that.
just like, I actually care. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
totally.
Like,
You can see it.
you know, everybody in the comedy scene like has embraced me warmly. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of great friends that I've met through comedy. So like, you know, if this is like my way to participate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm cool with that,
Well, there's
you know
also
what
a
I'm
lot of like lonely people in comedy, so they need friends. So good for you for
Yeah,
helping
yeah.
them with that.
I feel that. That makes sense,
When
man.
I first started doing comedy, like there were a lot of people like doing it. You could tell doing it because like this was the first time they like had a circle of
Yeah.
people that like
Yeah.
they could connect with, you know, and it's
Do you
grown
think
a
that's
lot from
common?
there.
Like not just here, but everywhere? Do you think like
For comedy?
Yeah.
Probably, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of comedians like are weirdos. Like I'm a weirdo for
it's
sure.
like Misfit Island?
Yeah, I think because I've worked in restaurants my whole life, I've learned how to talk to people better than most comedians.
Okay.
If I could put it in restaurant terms, a lot of comedians have line cook energy, where like they aren't necessarily like they're fucking fun to talk to, but
Yeah.
if you put them in the general public,
Yeah.
they're gonna stand out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm coming to mind like Daniel Bright. Like Daniel Bright's one of my best friends.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when we first started becoming friends, it was through comedy, like open mics and shit. We just hung out all the time. And I remember every time I would show him, introduce him to one of my like normal friends,
Yeah.
even somebody living in my apartment complex, they would be like, what is this thing? Like, you know, he's...
We've all got some questionable friends
Yeah.
like that, you know. Riley over there met a few of mine last night. That,
Yeah.
You know, it's like, who are these people you hang out
Yeah,
with?
yeah.
It's like, well, you know.
You have to
I don't know.
preface it before you introduce your comedian friends to your normal friends.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
Hey, he'll warm up to you, you know.
You'll get him
Yeah.
at some point,
But
right?
the authenticity of comedians is like why I love them so much. Like it's just most comedians are themselves whether
Yeah.
they like it or not. You
Yeah.
know, they're just gonna be themselves, and like it helps and lends itself to like a strong community of friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And they make for great friends, comedians.
Yeah, it seems like you have a pretty tight knit group of people that you rock with too, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, as far as like the people I work with
Yeah.
in the comedy scene, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think of myself like lone wolfish a little bit, but
Okay.
like as soon as I started doing Falling Apart, like, yeah, I mean, I started opening up more, and
Because ever since you do that, I see you as like almost like a. This is probably a terrible word because everyone's equal, but almost like
Yeah.
a leadership role. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you know, you're kind of putting things together for people, right?
Right. I mean, that's now at this point, I had to come to terms with the fact that like I am kind of getting to like, I don't know, like I've been doing it almost 5 years. So there's a whole, when I started doing my open mic, I noticed a whole new crop of comedians that were coming out. Like when I first started, I mean, I did it for like 9 months and then COVID happened. So that was a weird time for comedy for sure, because no one could do it. But yeah, the new like group of comedians, like, and I'll go back as far as like 2 years maybe, and I look at Aldo as like kind of like a pinpoint in this, where like a bunch of these new comics really take it seriously.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, it was like a lot of us were doing it for fun. I for sure was. Like, I mean, I've had dreams of, you know, being a comic and putting on shows and doing this, but like I definitely just started it to like have fun, and I always wanted to do it, like bucket list type shit.
Yeah.
But now comics are like, you know, coming out the gate, they know what they want and they're going for it. And so it's been way easier starting these shows and like connecting with comedians who really want to make this like a thing.
What do you think sparked that change?
Definitely, like, I think the comedy boom that's going on right now with podcasts is making it very desirable. I think that I don't know what is making it, because for the longest time it's just, you know, it's getting the courage to get up on stage and then do it. Like, that's why I think a lot of people didn't, but now I think it's more accessible.
Yeah.
And there are way more avenues to like be successful in comedy.
Yeah.
Whether that be like local or mainstream. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, with people like Shane Gillis and that whole new crop of comedians that are like taking over, they're making it look really fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
mean, you know, it's just. It's a whole ass community, and I've been saying this. I mean, I've done music, I've tried to break into film, and all of that. Like, you're so distant from like stardom, if you will. Like, you have to like tour with no name bands or tour in your own van and hop on shows and do this and do that. If you get good at comedy, like, you can be opening for like your favorite comic in a year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you get in with the clubs, you can start working with, you know, the people who you're watching on podcasts like that, you know? And I think that people are aware of that, especially comedians, whether that be like subconscious or, you know, whatever. But I mean, it's
not like
appealing.
It's easy though, but I think it's because a lot of these people maybe were never going to be musicians, right? They're never going to go to LA and become an actor. You can't act on a local level. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
But I think, like you said, the accessibility. They're like, I can start today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't need anything other than a notepad, like, to start doing comedy.
Today's Friday. You could spend the next 3 days writing,
Yeah.
and then Monday or Tuesday go hit an open mic, and boom, you're a fucking comedian.
Yeah.
And you know what? You meet the right people, and you hit it off. You got 5 friends.
Yeah.
I think I met 5 people the first open mic that I ever did that I still see like on a weekly basis pretty much. You know what I mean?
That was one of the coolest parts when I first did my first open mic. This is a funny story. I'm going to go on a little
Do it, man.
But
That's what we're here for.
I'll get to what was told to me afterwards. But I went to my friend Angela. I worked with her at this place called Downtown Delhi. Now it's Liars Club.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was bartending there. And
Angela's a close friend of mine. I love
Angela.
Angela.
Angela's awesome, dude.
Tight,
Angela is my comedy mom, dude.
Same. She actually taught me how to write.
Really?
Yeah, I literally owe all of this
We
to
have
Angela.
similar stories, dude. So I just looked at her as like, no offense, Angela, I love you, but like I was like, yeah, this is like hot bitchy bartender. Like, that's what she does.
Checks out though.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the first things she said to me was like a sex joke, and I was like, nice to meet you. But
sounds about right.
Yeah, subscribe to her OnlyFans. But no, she fucking she came into the Vig. So Delhi was my second job. I was washing dishes there, and I was working at the Vig, and I was bar backing, and I noticed she came in and she was sitting at the bar. I said hi, and then I noticed she was writing. And I was like, what could she be writing? You know,
who the fuck writes?
She's too hot to be writing something, you know? Yeah. And I went up to her and I was like, hey, what are you working on? Just being nosy. And she was like, I'm starting a show called Merkin Mondays. Yeah. And yeah, I do stand up and I'm just working on my set. And I was like, no way, I want to do stand up comedy so bad. And she's like, come out to Rosie McCaffrey's, R.I.P. They closed down, but come out to Rosie's. That's where the show's going to be at. I'll I'll look at your jokes and help you write. Just get there early. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm down. So like I had jokes like written down. I had been working on a set, and so I went to Seamus McCaffrey's because I didn't realize it was Rosie's. I get there, I'm walking around, I'm like talking to the bartenders, like, hey, is there a show going on? Is Angela here? Yeah. And the bartender was like, she's usually here, but she's not here tonight. Yeah. And had no idea what I was talking about. Yeah. And then I like looked through my text and saw it was Rosie's. And I knew Rosie's because I used to work at Oregano's right next door. So I'm like, fuck.
Where was that?
Rosie's, it's on like 10th Street and Camelback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so right near like Gay Denny's and Oregano's. Yeah, that's where we'd go after our shifts over there. But I go to Rosie's, and now I'm like 15 minutes before the show's about to start. So I'm like, fuck, man. Like, she's like, I can't work with you now, but after the mic, I'll do it. And her show was like 3 comics up front and then a mic afterwards. Okay. And she would check out, and the comics would bring up the next person, which was like very smart. Yeah. And so I remember sitting there, and there's this comedian. His name is Bill Laskowski. I haven't seen him in a minute. Don't know what he's up to. Love you, Bill. But he was sitting in front of me, and I didn't realize I was at like the sign-up table. Like I just sat down at the first table I saw. Yeah. And I didn't realize this guy in front of me had been doing it for like 6 years. And he hears me talk to Angela about writing my jokes, and then he just looks at me and he goes, do you want to do stand-up comedy? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And he's like, you're not going to do stand-up comedy by writing jokes with fucking Angela. You're going to do it by getting on stage. Stop being a fucking pussy and write your name down. Hell and I was like, I'm not a fucking pussy. And I wrote my name down, dude, and I did it. And I remember all I wanted to do was get one laugh. And like new comics or people who want to do stand-up, don't put pressure on your first fucking set. Yep. Like, I promise you, like, just go up with the intention of making one person laugh. If you did that, you told a joke and you made someone laugh on stage. And, like, you're building this up in your head. Like, I was like, I need to have my tight 5. I knew all these comedy lingo words, but, like, I wasn't a comic, you know?
Not knowing that you have to create a tight 5, right?
Yeah, like, totally.
Like many open mics is what makes that.
Yeah, I've never seen somebody out the gate be like, damn, that's a tight 5. You know, we're going to see that, like, coming up. Like, that's going to happen where these people are, like, they've somehow perfected it. But I remember getting off stage. I only did 3 minutes, too. Like, don't pressure yourself. I did 3 minutes. I made some people laugh. I got off stage, and I remember going out onto the patio to smoke a cigarette, and all the other comics were out there, and then they just started asking me how I did. Like, and I met like Anwar, Bill, Eric Subcheck, like a bunch of comedians who I really look up to. They were all there because they were friends with Angela. They all came up at the same time. Yep. And I remember, I think it was Eric, but somebody told me, like, you're a comedian now. Yeah. You just went and you did that. When you went on stage, you weren't, and now you are. Like, welcome to the club. Like, are you gonna do it again? And I was like, fuck yeah. And they're like, you either know that you're going to do it again or you're not. And that's like, you get the bug instantly. And that was a really cool thing to hear. And I try to tell new comics that when they come to Wayward now, and like just kind of pay that forward, that advice of like, not necessarily advice, but just affirmation of being like, yo, you're a comic now. Like, welcome to the fraternity. You're going to fucking hate it in like a year. I'm not really hate it, but there's a lot of drama and bullshit in comedy for sure.
Of course, man. Of course.
You know, it's awesome.
Even I've got into a little bit. You know
I'm sure you have, dude. I'm sure you have, dude. You stick around long enough. Like, there's somebody who won't be named, but we were talking about this the other night where this person was like, I think this comic hates me. And I was like, well, you're not a comedian until like you've had a brushing with this
So,
person. So
yeah. Okay. Okay. Do I know the person, you think?
Huh? Probably.
You tell me later.
Yeah. We'll talk after.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Damn, dude, I'm a gossip comic now. Nah, dude.
Oh man, is it really a comedy podcast if you don't say you'll tell me after, right?
Yeah, exactly, dude. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah. There we are, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So Wayward, how long have you been doing? First of all, describe Wayward because these people probably don't know what it is.
Wayward Tap House, or it's called the Wayward Open Mic. I started it 2 years ago in January. The first week of January was when we started. They wanted me to do something there. I'm good friends. Like, one of my best friends is a bartender there, and we've become great friends over time. But I knew I liked him. He would come into the bar at Gracie's, and he was talking about starting something at Wayward just to bring people in. And I was thinking about getting back into it. I actually took a brief hiatus from comedy because a show that I used to run at Gracie's kind of fell apart, and it just kind of soured me to like comedy, and not necessarily comedy, but just like we're still great friends, but me and a friend at the time like almost had like a falling out because of it, and we're like I said, we're good friends now. His name's Devontae. That's my fucking boy. But I think we would both admit that like when the show ended, we weren't necessarily on the best terms.
Okay.
And that's one of my brothers. Like, genuinely love him to death. And I think that the amount of emotional investment I put in, and also like I was in over my head. I'll be the first to admit that. But all of that.
First show you put together?
Yeah. And it was a great show, but it was just, I think, too much on both of our shoulders.
Yeah.
And that kind of got in the way of our friendship, and then that fucked me up from like a comedy standpoint of like, it's almost like a breakup, honestly. I don't want to get close to anyone, and like I just started focusing on my music, and then I was really wanting to get back into comedy, writing the whole time I was still doing music. And then Alex presented an open mic. They wanted it to be a mixed open mic, which I don't know if you've ever been to one of those. It's the only thing worse than a comedy open mic is like music got, like, people and doing comedy. Yeah,
poetry and shit once in a while too, right?
Awful, dude. It's so bad. And so I was like, please let me just try out. I'll do it for free. Yeah. Let me try out the comedy mic here. I can promise you, and what I did, and I would advise anyone to do this if you're going to start an open mic, because we need more mics, especially downtown. Tell them that you'll do the first one for free, and do it for free, and just pick a place that has like one of their slow nights. Like, I went in there, we do it Thursday at Wayward. I went in the previous two Thursdays before we started just to like see what the vibe was like there, and it was fucking dead. So I'm like, when I pitched it to him, I'm like, I know that I can at least bring in 20 comedians, you know, at least. And not all those comics are going to buy something, but 15 of them will.
Yeah.
And I
a
know
lot of them are going to post on social media, and you know what I mean? That's part of it too.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, last night the mic had 46 comedians, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, like, dude, it's doing really well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I mean,
how long
it
did
was
take to get through that?
Packed. Oh, fuck, bro. Now we're talking. I got there at 5:30 because I had a meeting with Sarah from Falling Apart. Yeah. And I left at 11:20.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, I find you a good co-host. I would advise someone you can really trust. But like, I love it. I mean, I would not do it if I didn't love it, because it is taxing. And I'll be honest, when I'm on stage, dude, I'm like 25 comedians in, 30 comedians in. I'm like, y'all, I'm phoning it in, guys. I'm sorry. Like, you know, and like try to make jokes about that too. Like. Yeah. But it's been over 2 years, and then when we started, I remember I just was very big on, like, for about 6 months, almost a year, every single week, I thought it was going to be the last week. I just scratched my gooch on camera. every goddamn it. So I have ADD. Every single week for like 6 months to a year, I thought it was going to be the last one we'd ever do.
Really?
Like, genuinely.
Why is that, though?
I think I put like, not even numbers. Like, I think I just put a lot of pressure on myself. And like I told them after like 2 months, I think, or 3 months, I was like, I was getting paid less than I wanted to, and I had a number, and I told them, I'm just saying this because I don't want some douchebag to lowball me and take over Wayward, but that won't happen. But I said, look, it's been a dream to get paid like this much money just to do comedy. Like, if you guys can do this, like, I'm in. And then after that, it was a matter of like justifying that they're paying me this much. Yeah. Which isn't that much to some people, but for me, it was a lot. Yeah. And I think it was just I put a lot of pressure on myself to, succeed and do well. And I mean, there were times where when we started, like, there's a giant trans Suns flag in the back of the room. And I told them, like, I'm not going to tell the comedians what they can and can't say. Like, we had a run in the second week that we did it where someone said some shit. 2 regulars that come every Thursday were like, we're not going to come if this is going on. Yeah. And they had to, like, kind of bite the bullet. And I told them and promised them, like, look, this is one of the last spaces available for, like, open conversation and civil discourse. And, like, there's a reaction that happens when a comic tells something out of line and it's not funny and no one laughs. And I'm telling you that hurts them. And, like, if you think they're saying something maliciously, they're probably not. Sometimes they are, and if they are, I can usually sense that, and I promise you I will shut that shit down in a funny way. I'm trying to bring the show back together. Yeah. Usually I'll be like, well, I had a great time hosting this show. It's been so fun. This is the last one we're ever going to get to do. But I appreciate you all coming out. And, like, usually that gets a laugh. We all know what they said was stupid. Yeah. And then I'll have the comic. I don't have them, like, but they'll come up and apologize 9 times out of 10. Yeah. And, like, but I told them, like, I'm not going to censor anybody. Like, if we're going to do an open mic here, like, we're doing a fucking open mic. And people are probably going to say some crazy shit. But I think that's the job of a host and a good host to, like manage that, whatever that is. Like, I think that you can keep it uncensored but still have a finesse in the way that you make sure that the audience is having a good time. Because I said this on the last podcast we did, like, they didn't fucking ask for this. Like,
my favorite quote from you is people don't go to open mics. Open mics happen to people.
Yeah. Bro. Like,
and after that, I went to a bunch of open mics, and I, like, seen that happening. Yeah. I actually love it now. I was at Merca Mondays when she was doing it at the pizza place.
Oh, yeah.
And there was just, like, some older Gilbert couples in there eating, and, like, you could just see the look on their face, like, oh, we did not know this was happening.
Yeah, totally. And
they're like,
honestly, they were good sports about it at that show.
Yeah, they were.
But yeah, I remember just being like, at that show in particular, like, I'm going to do a little crowd work and try to, like, bridge the gap because you're, like, this sweet, nice family. I'm so removed from that, like, 10 years living by myself out here. Yeah. But I still remember doing family dinners with my parents. So I was, like, kind of, like, having this existential crisis where, like, I could see myself in their shoes. Yeah. And being like, God, I don't want to hear somebody talk about their dick in front of my mom. Like,
right.
That's awful, dude. I'm just trying to eat my pie, man.
Yeah, right. I feel that. Yeah. I feel that. So when you started the open mic, do you feel like you were ready to do that? Or did you just jump in?
No, man. Like, not really. I knew that I wanted to do it and I was going to do it, but it was kind of the same feeling I had when I, like, did my first mic. Like, I had some experience hosting an open mic because, and a lot of people shit on this, but during COVID, me and my buddy Devontae that I told you about, this is how we got real close. He started an Zoom mic. Yeah. It was Skype and then Zoom, but during the pandemic. Yeah. And we were all just getting fucked up and not doing shit. And I was like, well, let me hop on this Zoom mic. Like, we tried multiple ones. There was, like, the Xbox version of it or whatever, like, where, like, you're in a club, kind of. I don't know if you've seen this. I forgot what it was called. But
I've seen some of that.
It's, like, animated, like, stand-up, and you wait in line and everything. That sucked. So we did this one with Devontae, and, like, over time, like, it started building traction, at least locally, and then he asked me if I wanted to co-host it, and I was like, sure. And that lasted for almost a year.
Okay.
And we did it every single Thursday. We created fun little challenges and stuff. And he would host the front half, I'd host the back, or vice versa. And that really helped from a hosting perspective.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do much for my stand-up, I don't think, but like just because, I mean, it wasn't stand-up comedy, really literally sitting in a chair in my boxers, but like it was definitely like managing a room. Dude, we had people from like Ireland, Japan,
Oh, that's pretty
Germany.
sweet. Yeah.
Like so many people found out about us and know us now. Like we have a whole community in many states because of this. And there was like this dude, Nico Lukoff, made this page on Facebook called Displaced Comedians.
Okay.
And that grew exponentially. Like, and because of that and hosting that, gave me more confidence for sure. But I definitely knew that what I was about to do with Wayward was not the same as like the Zoom mic or whatever.
Yeah.
But that gave me some confidence in knowing like how to structure, how to order. And now with hosting, like, dude, if a comedian comes up to me, like I did this last night with Tom Patterson, but if a comedian comes up to me and is like, I'm interested in hosting, I will give them 5 comics at the end of the night and kind of give them some pointers and stuff.
Yeah.
Hosting helps a lot with your stand-up. Like, as far as confidence and stage presence and like the audience side of it, and like kind of connecting and understanding with them. Whereas like just going to open mics, I think really helps, you know, obviously just build that muscle memory. It's flexing your writing and stuff. But I think hosting is like, you know, it's invaluable. It's really a cool part of it for me. And a lot of people I think look down on hosting. I know that there's a trap of hosting, and I was in this for a while where like I kept getting booked to host shows, and I was like, man, I'd like to do stand up. And also when people see, when normal everyday people like my parents are like, buddy, that's awesome, you're hosting, so when are you going to get to do your comedy? And I'm like, well, I start with a set, like I do a set, and they're like, but you're hosting, right? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm still doing stand up. Like for some reason there's this disconnect where like, you know, no, I'm not the featuring actor right now, I'm not the headliner, but like I think there are steps, like, and hosting is one of them, and I think
it's also like, do you know how lucky I am even to be involved?
Yeah,
right?
dude, totally.
Like, a couple years ago, this would have been fucking blew my mind. I get to do this shit.
I know, man. It's like when I first started comedy, I never thought that I'd be hosting my own open mic. Never thought I'd have a show, like, or getting booked at all. Like, it's really been been fun.
How has having
do you care if I have my jewel, dude?
No, go ahead, man. Just, cool. If any of the employees come,
I'll just do it secretly.
It's not what it looks like. It's not what it looks like.
Sorry.
No, you're good,
I
man.
got a problem,
man. We all got our little problems, man. So how do you think, like, having the open mic, having the Gracie show, which we'll get into in a second, like, how has that impacted, like, your presence in the Phoenix comedy scene? Has it made things easier for you? Is it a headache?
It's only a headache, like, when I feel like there are definitely some entitled comedians, like, and who feel like they deserve certain spots or whatever, like, or like I've had people, like, literally at my open mic, a comic went, why don't you ever book me, Chris? Why don't you ever book me? And just started having a fucking heart-to-heart with me on stage. And I'm
really,
like,
on stage?
Yo, dude, this is not the time or place. This is why I don't book you, bro. What you're doing right now. Like, you're fucking off the wall. Like, I can't book that. And then I'm just like, look, write material, do a set, line up 4 good sets, and the chances are you're going to be on my radar to book. Like, I don't have like this fucking, you know, network that I'm only going to use, you know, but it's really not a headache. It's more like it's just fun for me. Like, I don't know, like, I kind of forgot the question. I'm sorry. I went to, what was the other part? You said headaches and...
The headaches were like, has it propelled you, do you think?
It's definitely given me opportunities, like, as far as like hosting and they come slowly, but people will, I don't know, I guess book me. I've always been, I feel like a likable person in comedy and like friendly. So like that's really, most of us are kind of on the same level.
Yeah.
Unless you're like brand new or like you're past that point. But I think being like a friendly person to other people who are booking shows like is like crucial. Like be likable and you're more likely to get booked, you know.
You gotta be a good hang.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm not saying you need to like fucking rage and, you know, there's overdoing it for sure, but it's,
and those people are obvious too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I do kind of feel like, at least at Wayward, I don't get out much because I got my fucking DUI, and it costs a lot of money to like lift to places to do mics because there's not a lot downtown. So I have to like kind of gauge and balance that, and then my girlfriend and all this other stuff. The reason I host the open mic, the main reason is like that gives me, like last night I had 4 hours, not 4 hours, but like, you know, roughly an hour and a half of stage time. Yeah. Like, I mean, I go up for a minute, not a whole minute, but like I do get to tell jokes in between comedians, and like sometimes I know at this point when to like just have the show keep it running or when to like chime in. Like I try to write a joke after everyone's set about their set. Yeah. And if I can't do that,
so you have something to say when you go up in between.
Yeah, right? Just something to keep the momentum going and pushing it forward. And also like I don't really like roasting people unless it's like somebody that I'm friends with and it's like a fun, friendly roast. Or if they roast me. If you roast me, like I'm taking the gloves off.
Yeah,
but
you can
like,
get back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I think that like as far as Wayward, like there is like I feel like a douchebag saying this, but almost like there's a respect. I'll just say, I was about to say Godfather-ish, and that's so fucking gay, but there is a respect that that I've gotten just because I'm taking the time out of my day to like host this and give all these other comedians the opportunity to come and do their set. And I like to think Wayward's a cool, like fun place to do that at. This is another thing, if you're starting an open mic, have an escape for other people that are there. Like, we have a big patio at Wayward, so if you don't want to watch the show, the money can still earn, or the money can still earn business. The business can still earn money while escaping the show. You know what I mean? Or the mic. Because, like, Bogies is a perfect example of this, too. Bogies has, like, a side room, which is, like, another great mic. Steven Ty does that one. I think that's his name. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sure that's his name.
We hope it's his name.
I fucking hope that's your name, dude. I know his last name's Ty. I think it's Steven Ty. I've only been there a few times, but hands down one of my favorite mics other than my own that's run. And they have this separate room. It kind of looks like a man cave in there. Okay. And like you can come in and do the show. And like every time I've been there, there's been like a great audience in there. Yeah. And like Wayward has a similar vibe. At least for the first 2 hours, like you can come and get a legitimate, like, what's the word? Like, idea of how your set is. You know, where, like, I mean, I've done so many horror show mics where, like, you know, like, when I first started the mics, I remember the first show I got booked on doing my material, and the crowd was just fucking losing their minds. And I was like, oh, this is what it's like when people come to see you do comedy. This is insane. Like, when you're not like forcing it down their throats, you know?
Yeah. I played a showcase I did at House of Comedy one time. And like the fact that those people were there to see comedy, it was so like obvious that there was a entirely different vibe in the crowd.
Yeah. It's awesome. Like when people are there to laugh versus like having to like convince them to laugh. Yeah. Like, it's fun. But as far as like, where I stand with comedians and like what I've like gained from doing the mic, like, I mean, like you said, we'll talk about falling apart later, but as far as the mic goes, it's just, building a space for comics to do their thing. Like, comedians are very appreciative of that for
Yeah.
the most part, you know, and that's been cool to just be able to provide a space for them to do their thing and not like, and shout out to Wayward for letting us do it. Like
Yeah, for real.
me and them are like in tandem, dude. Like I couldn't do it without them and like their belief in it. Like the owners, like they hate stand up.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, they like when I start the show, they're out of there. I mean, I don't even think Alex really likes it, but he likes getting money. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's symbiotic. You know,
45 comedians in the building, that helps.
yeah,
right?
no, they're not gonna get upset about that. Like yesterday, he was like, "Bro, like with the food truck and the comedy nights, like I'm a little nervous that I'm gonna have to bring another bartender on." He's like, "Cause I want all the money," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. That sounds like a good problem, but all right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I feel for you, bro."
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So when did the Gracie show come about?
That came about. So I mean, I had been ever since the show I previously talked about, the one I did with Devontae. Ever since that folded, they were like, "Hey, Chris, like whenever you want to do a show, let us know."
Oh, they were asking you to do one.
Yeah,
Sweet.
like because
That's
the
good.
Disaster Classic was a show we did that was really successful. But like,
Yeah.
we did a good job with that show. It was just too much pressure, and they understood that, and so they were like, you know, you can, whenever you want, you can do a show here. So, the format of the show we did was just really different.
Yeah.
And so when I did my show there, I wanted it to be different. And so it was just a matter of like a couple years of like just kind of like not actively thinking about it, but just like back of my mind, like taking notes from other shows.
Yeah.
And like finally, I think, I don't really know what, I think it was the image of me getting chokeslammed through a table.
Okay.
Like that image in my head was like really, really funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want that. Like how can we build a fucking show around me getting chokeslammed through a table?
Yeah.
And then that's when I started drawing from like, I mean, I think I've listened to a lot of people talk about, like I'm big into film, listening to film directors talk and like just the whole process of coming up with like producing and making something happen.
Yeah.
And I think like there are almost no original ideas.
Yeah.
But an original idea comes from you like stealing essentially.
Stealing something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
other good ideas. And so like I was thinking of like Jackass, Chappelle Show, Eric Andre, and like I don't know, some other show that that was in the Rolodex. And like trying to combine all those into a stand-up show, like have stand-up be at the center of it, but have a space where we can do like sketch comedy. And because I've always loved sketch comedy, I think it's like mostly cringe,
Yeah.
but if it's done right, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And so like how can we do something different? And like I want people to be surprised. And I started thinking of like, I want it to be like controlled chaos. That's really what I talk to like all the writers and the actors about, is like controlled chaos. Like, and the show's called Falling Apart for a reason.
Yeah.
Like,
So before we kind of continue, like as the creator, like how do you define what falling apart is? Like how do you define the concept?
I would say it's like a narrative, almost like it can be narrative based, but it's almost like it's a stand-up comedy show where things go wrong.
Yeah.
But things go wrong, you know, like
right.
like I want the, like for instance, I mean, it's fucking like you asked me that, it's kind of hard to even describe. Like I like to think it's all the elements of comedy that I enjoy wrapped up into one show.
Okay.
Like I love stand-up, I love sketch comedy, I love pranks, I love like the fake commercials we do. Like
Okay, so I'm glad that you pointed that part out. Because like literally, okay, so first of all, your show at Gracie's Falling Apart is literally my favorite show in the city.
Thanks, dude.
Dude, I don't miss him,
Appreciate
man. I don't
that.
miss him.
I know.
Riley's been coming to him. She was in it. She was in it last one.
you won.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we love what you do, man.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. And I mean the fact that I know most of the people in it make it a little bit extra exciting. You know what I mean? Like the fake commercials are absolutely hilarious.
Thank you,
When Sarah and Chris did the husband and the wife law team, and then they had the guy singing the Call Raffy song. Yeah, dude, it's shit like that kills me, man. It's so funny.
No, that one was so fun to do. Like, and yeah, man, we just like, I've always loved, like, I'm thinking about like, Atlanta and Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, he's a huge influence too. Like his whole model of everything is awesome. But I remember there was one episode where like it was like different TV segments in the show, and I always thought that was cool. They had fake commercials. Not Eric Andre necessarily, but like Tim and Eric. Like, and I wasn't even a huge Tim and Eric fan, but I've always seen clips and like really loved like that style of like almost like public access like type comedy in a way where it's like anything goes kind of style. And so like, and it kind of is a play on like everyone's familiar with, we're almost at a point now where like we understand that ads are necessary. When you're a kid, you're like, I hate the commercials. Like, and there was a big play for like TiVo and DirecTV and everything to be like, you don't need commercials anymore. Skip them, you know? And like now, like when you listen to podcasts, like they've now figured out a way to get their ad into the podcast without having like, you know, if you have YouTube Red, for instance, you don't have the ads. But now they're like paying the podcasters to say the ad on the podcast. So like I was kind of trying to play with that, where like, all right guys, well obviously the show's going to be sponsored by something, and it's a way to do a different style of sketch that I like, like where you are trying to sell something. Like I just think that's funny, and yeah, we've had a lot of fun doing that, like that style. And like the sketches have grown. Sarah Steiner, I'm going to give her a huge shout out. Like, and Chris Erb's now officially a part of the team too.
Love it. They're both fantastic.
Yeah, they're so great. Chris has just killed every single time he was on. So I'm like, dude, do you want to write on this too? Like, you're hilarious. And Sarah's like took it to another level. Like, truly, like I am one of the most disorganized people. Like, it takes a lot of work for me to try to put it all together. Like, I'm an idea guy, I think, mostly. And I love writing, but like Sarah is just, she can do all of that I can do and then some. Like, it's insane.
So like I've gone to 4 or 5 of them now. How many have you done? You've done
5, yeah.
I think I've gone to 4 of the 5.
It started in November, December, 5.
Yeah, I think I've gone to 4 of the 5.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until like a month ago that you guys like met as a team and did actually writing. I thought like each person like kind of just came with their own sketch and you threw them together. I didn't realize how like you said, organized and prepared that you did have it. Yeah. You guys meet as a team on a regular basis?
So yeah, we will, all the writers, so me and Sarah met yesterday and kind of like divided, because we have actors and then we have writers. Okay. And so the actors, we kind of like will fill in. I'll say this, like the first week is all about ideas, and we have 4 columns. It's audience participation, there's sketches / commercials, there's comedians, and then, there's one other thing. Sketches, I think that's it. Maybe it's just 3, but like the comedians that we're going to book on the show, the sketches, and then interruptions. That's the last one.
The interruptions.
So
my favorite
the
part.
interruptions are a separate entity. Sketches and the commercials are its own thing, and then audience participation, like what you did. That's something that I learned at the original show. Okay. Was we would have the audience. It was interactive through Instagram. Okay. So we would have them vote on their phones for their favorite comedian, and then whoever won this challenge thing we would do would headline the next show. Okay. So it was I noticed like getting them involved is a way to keep them in their seats and also not fatigue them. Like so many shows I've seen they get, no matter how funny the comics are, if you do a long enough comedy show, like people will get bored. Yeah. And that was another like thing when I was writing this show, is like I don't want anyone to be bored at the end of this. Yeah. Like I want people to be like, that was fucking crazy. Like, and really write a show and make a show that can like market itself, where people like are gonna want to pull out their phones and record, and have that be part of the marketing for it, is people posting about it.
Yep.
And so the writing will go like me, and I'll shout out everyone. Like the writers right now are me, Maxwell Anthony Parisi, Mitchell Wayne. He's a new guy. He's awesome. Joey Capuana, Sarah Steiner, Chris Erb. Maybe I should have named him because I don't feel like I'm missing somebody. But I'll think if I fucked up, I'm sorry. But yeah, like generally that's our core.
Yeah.
And we'll meet like on Sundays. That's when everyone's off, and the first week will just be ideas, like, and you can kind of tell what is, we all come with, I try to have everybody come with something.
Yeah.
And then we sit down and everyone gets a chance to like put out their pitches, and I'm all about like no bad ideas. Like if there's something that like we might not use at this show, we have a whole spreadsheet of just ideas, you know, and like I tell people, like, your idea is never going to be shot down like completely, like, you know. And I mean, Max at the last show, that cocaine bit, he's been wanting to do that since the first show. Really? You know, and finally we had the opportunity to do it. Yeah. And so it's like, it's something, it's a very fun process. I think writing is my favorite part of comedy, period. Okay. Like, I love performing, but I feel like performing is like a way to get out my writing, you know? And so getting to do it with other people is so fun. And like, the first week will be like ideas, and then we'll kind of pick the ones that we want. Okay. And then the next meeting we'll have is we'll be like, all right, well, like, who wants to work on what? Yeah. And then everyone will work on their sketch, and then we'll come to the next meeting, and maybe there's 2 things we haven't figured out quite yet. Yeah. We need to have the comics down, and then we'll come up with the interruptions based on who the comedians are. But yeah, the next meeting will be like, all right, what do we have now? And like, we'll go over whose sketch has been like finished, or what's there, like more ideas, kind of flesh it out more. Okay. And then the third meeting, hopefully by then everything is kind of done and written out, and then we can assign actors and figure out who's going to do what. Okay. And then, yeah, I mean, every single time, like, and this is no indictment on them, if anything, it's me, but I think that, like, we're always, I mean, not everyone's getting paid to do this, you know? And so, like, I understand that, like, for most of these people that are on the show, it's like a labor of love. Like, they just enjoy being on something that's different, and like a different way to express comedy for them. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're always a little bit like, oh fuck, like, oh, we're like, what's going on type shit, you know? And I think that kind of helps the show in a way, like, just have that little air of like, oh, it is all about to fall apart, you know, but it doesn't. And it's kind of like SNL, like when a character breaks on SNL, like you don't watch that and be like, oh, that's bullshit, they need to act right. No, like, it almost makes it better. Yeah, you know? you laugh because you know that they're having fun, you know. And so Sarah's really helped organize it and make it a little better. And like, we're always trying to improve too. We'll have a meeting before the meeting and talk about how the last show went and what we all think, like, how could we make it better? And, you know, it's about finding people. For me, it was about finding people who really wanted to, like, be a part of it. And, like, I didn't really, like, when I first started doing it, I asked Joey, and then Joey said he was doing this, and then Max told Joey he really wanted to be a part of it. And, like, I never had to go to anyone and be like, hey, can you help me do this? Like, it kind of just started naturally. And man, that's the writing is awesome. And like, getting to meet every week like that, it feels like legit almost. Like you're part of something. Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, but no, we are not just winging it. Yeah, I'm glad
you
that
do a good job.
I'm
It does
glad.
kinda seem
I'm
that way.
glad that you think that though. Like for real. Like if we're giving that off a little bit, then that's cool. Cause I don't know. I want it to be in between like rehearsed and precise, but also like loose and
Anything
fun.
can kinda still
anything
happen.
can go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like anything. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone wrong a lot. I felt bad when all those the flour bags burst. I was like, that's gonna be a bitch to clean up.
yeah.
That was gonna be a fucking nightmare. But
whoops.
also Gracie's is the perfect place to do that show at.
Yeah.
Like hopefully we're gonna be able to bring this to a bigger venue. Like we're gonna take a break during the summer. I think all of us want to. I personally, it takes a lot to do this show, like a lot of fucking energy. So, excuse me. I think we all deserve a break, and it's going to be hot during the summer. Like, I don't really want to ask an audience to sit out in the heat for like an hour 30. A big part of my shows too is like I want the audience to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, there's too many. I don't know. You're asking them to watch local comedy, people they don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'd sit in the heat to watch Bill Burr or Chappelle,
Right.
but like I don't know you guys,
You're
Like,
just some dudes.
why am I out here sweating,
Yeah, I feel that, man.
So we're gonna take a little break during the summer, and then hopefully we'll be doing videos, dude. If you want to get on that too.
I was gonna say, man, you guys should be live streaming that.
We're gonna be that's a whole nother thing. Like I haven't even, now that we know about this shit.
This would be perfect for that.
So we'll talk about that after. But I wanna definitely like film. Hopefully take it to a bigger venue. But like during the summer, we wanna like do like videos, like sketch videos. Maybe start a little team or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, just keep people on their toes, and like that'll also give us 3 months to like write. Like we're not gonna take the foot off the gas, but just like hopefully like come up like have like 3 shows ready to fire off, and like kind of like when people back in like podcasts and stuff like that,
Yep.
But
yeah, that's sweet. I think over the summer taking the break and then doing it with making videos and online content, I think that's a solid move.
Yeah, maybe make like a Instagram or form like an actual like name for the team or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think it's a good idea, man.
Yeah, like a second city type thing in Phoenix. Yeah. Phoenix has so much untapped potential, dude. Like, and like people are gonna figure out that this is like a destination and a place to be, and I think that like it's up to the people who are here already to like understand that and like and then gatekeep the fuck out of it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Kind of kidding.
No, when I first started comedy, there were a bunch of old head gatekeepers, so I would never do that. But yeah, man, it's a fun time to be doing stand up and like producing shows in this town. It's sick.
I love this city so much, man.
Yeah,
living
me too,
here,
man.
I've lived here for 6 years now. It's changed my life in so many fucking ways.
Where'd you move from?
Michigan, Wisconsin area. Yeah.
That's where most people move from.
Yeah. Well, that's because it was 80 degrees here yesterday.
Yeah.
And the schools had a snow day because of a snowstorm in my town.
Jesus.
So I'll take that 80 degrees.
Yeah, dude, that's so crazy. In March, bro.
Yeah. But
what do we do in Michigan?
No. Wishing you could live in Arizona more than likely,
In Michigan, they're probably like, dude, global warming, can it go faster?
Let's speed this shit up.
Yeah, dude.
Let's speed this shit up. That's too funny, man. But yeah, dude, I love it here. There's so much going on. No matter what you're into, like there's a pathway to be involved, to get into it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a really unique time to be in Arizona. That's why I'm really focusing on this. I think there's a lot of people doing cool stuff, and I just kind of want to be the one to showcase that.
Yeah, totally, dude. You're doing a great job, man. This is a sick setup. Yeah, dude, if you haven't done the Jake James podcast, what the fuck are you doing?
Come do it. Open invite to almost anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had somebody hit me up the other day, a friend I used to work with. He's like, hey, can I come to your podcast and just talk about partying stories?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I only have 200 followers. And I'm like, he's like, your last guest had 1.1 million.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care about that at all.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, the internet, a good clip's going to go viral regardless. The internet doesn't give a shit who you are.
Yeah, as long as you have the lights and like the camera, bro. Like,
it looks good, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So open invite to almost anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like. Have you watched Daniel Tosh's podcast at all?
Yeah. Hell
Dude,
yeah.
I love that. He's like my gardener.
Yeah.
You know, like
yes.
just normal people.
Theo Vaughn did one with a New York City dump truck driver.
Yeah, dude. Theo does that too, dude. Those are like some of my favorite podcasts. Just like everyday people.
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck yeah. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, dude, this was awesome.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks
covered
for
a lot,
having me
dude.
on,
I
bro.
appreciate it, man. We'll keep coming to the shows.
Can I plug one more thing?
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Hey, I do a movie night at Gracie's Tax Bar every second Monday of the month. I would love for people to come to that. That's honestly like my favorite thing that I'm doing right now. It's me, a guest, like someone that I'm just friends with, and then a comedian. We all sit behind a table, watch a movie, and we just commentate over it.
Kind of like MST3K a little
Absolutely.
bit.
It's literally, like I said, I steal all my good ideas.
Yeah.
It's Mystery Science Theater at the bar. We play it. I make a drinking game for each one. I think this month, it's going to be next Monday, but Roadhouse. And then I think next month we're either doing The Room or Dunstan Checks In.
That monkey?
You know that one?
Yeah, I do.
Dude, I've never heard of that. My roommate was like,
really?
One night at like 5 a.m, we got off. He works at Gracie's too. He got off from work and was like, just for some reason, was like, dude, Dunstan Checks In. Have you ever seen that? And I'm like, no.
It's about a monkey at a hotel.
Then he bought it on YouTube and was like, now he just keeps playing it at the bar to like justify his purchase.
Yeah.
And he's like, we have to do Dunstan. Fuck The Room. I want to do Dunstan.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
You have that to look forward to.
I have not been to that one, so I'll definitely
You should check it out. It's a fun, like, low-key thing. On
I'd be down to come be a guest on that one.
Okay,
sometime,
dude.
man.
Hell yeah, dude.
Obviously, I'll promote it heavy.
Yeah. Let's go.
Cool, man. Sounds good. Well, how can everyone find you online? Last question.
I am at Chris Banks on Instagram. That's ChrisBVNKS at Chris Banks.
Hell yeah.
I think that's the only one I have. I don't have X or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, you don't need all that shit.
Yeah, I do, but like every time I open Twitter, I just like it's just people dying, and I'm like,
So they're dying or fucking.
Yeah,
Twitter,
really,
right?
it's hell. It's porn.
Yeah. Or
it's
animals tearing each other apart.
Now.
I get too.
I love that. But yeah,
Sounds good.
Animals real animals are the people.
Yeah, that's the truth, man.
Yeah,
that's the truth. All right, guys, appreciate you checking in. Thanks, Chris, coming out. This is Jake James and Friends. Make sure to like, subscribe, all the things. You guys know what I need to do. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.